Welcome to Rockville in Jacksonville, Florida with Under Oath. We have Spencer and Aaron here with us.
Hello.
What up, what up?
We got to catch your set, and it was killer. It was fantastic.
Thank you.
And for the record, it was the only one that I left the media tent to go see.
Oh, snap.
So,
Uh-oh.
yes, you're the ones I escaped for.
Well,
So,
thank you. You got to see Ozzy later.
well, yeah.
Well, obviously. You're done by then.
Yes.
Okay, good.
This is actually our last interview as well. So,
Oh.
closing it out in style.
Oh.
So we'll keep you guys on schedule. I want to ask a couple of questions. We had a ton of fan questions come into the website for you guys. This is probably the most highly anticipated interview that we have set up. So the obvious one, Erase Me, first album in 8 years. What was it like recording collectively again?
It's pretty natural, man. I mean, like, we've been doing this together for so long, even with a break in the middle, like, for a couple years. It's what we do. You know, we've been doing this since we were kids. Like, it's natural for us to write music together, to record, and to play, you know.
It was very, very normal. Yeah. Very normal.
The most normal out of all the recording process, because we actually respected each other and got along, because we had to fix all that shit, you know, like, by stepping away. And now that we're all adults and, you know, we know how to work together for the first time in our whole career. So it was actually a great experience.
Now, during that break, you all had a lot going on in your personal careers and professionally, personal lives and professional careers. How did any of that influence then what came out to be Erase Me?
I think, for me, I did a ton of different stuff, and I think whenever you just keep going in your craft, you're going to get better, you're going to learn, and I'm a big proponent of that. At 34 years old, I don't think that you still stop learning. It's not like
you keep your mind open.
You keep your mind open, and we all learned communication skills, and we all learned, obviously, musical stuff, but mostly, I think we all brought who we had become into the same place, and were able to actually respect each other to make this kind of cumulative piece of art. So, yeah.
What was it like working with Matt Squire?
It's great, man. Like, we've never really had a guy that knew how to keep everyone intact without catering to one side or the other, because Underoath is very lopsided as far as who wants what for each song. And he was just like kind of like making a record with Buddha, I think. Like, he's so like zen and chill, and like
He has a degree in counseling too, psychiatry. So it was really cool. He was really able to take all the parts of Underoath and kind of help us meld them together in the way that we wanted to. So.
Now, the writing process, did a lot of it happen in the studio, outside the studio, little bits of both?
Little bits of both, but mostly out. We demoed a lot before we got there.
Yeah, we came in with about 30 songs, which the typical Underoath process has always been like, you're going to write what the album is going to be, and that's what you release. So this was the first time we actually really, really overwrote and tried to dig into like.
We had the time.
Yeah, we had the time. There was no one knew we were making a record, literally until a month before it came out.
Oh, I know.
You know what I mean? So it was really cool and it was a marketing thing from the label standpoint, but it was also really cool for us to be able to kind of live in that freedom and be able to create without speculating what people would think.
We got to make what we wanted to make, as opposed to having a gun to our head to get something done in time to go back on tour, because that's what happens to a lot of bands, So this was the first time for us to make something that we wanted to make since our first record, like where there's no expectation and no one waiting, so it was awesome.
Now, that's another question I had about expectation. With 8 years of anticipation and with a fan base that is as passionate as yours is, with a lot of expectations coming from the old Christian labels and what they expect you to do, how has that been, kind of shedding that?
You just can't pay attention to stuff like that. You have to do what makes you happy. And the band has to be happy, because what happens when it's not? You break up. We've already been there. We've already done that. Do we really need to go over all this stuff? It's like we have to be happy, and this is us being happy. And if people don't like it, then sorry, man. Like, this is who we are, and we've gone a long way to get here, and it's healthier and happier and more respectful than ever to each other, and to what it is that we're doing. When we were younger, it was whack, man. It was like we did everything the wrong way. And that's not just because there was a label attached to it. It was because we're kids that didn't know what we were doing, and we did things the wrong way.
You don't wear the same shoes you wore 12 years ago. Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to learn how to step into new shoes that suit who you've become, where you've been, the experiences you've had, what you've learned. You know, like your failures, your success, all of those things kind of accumulating to becoming that new pair of shoes, and putting on the old ones just feels wrong. You know what I mean?
And speaking of growth, I, at least personally, as a longtime fan, like back since Boy Brush Red was the first song that I had heard from you guys, you know, and these still feel like some of the most raw and honest lyrics, and this is like the most soul-bearing, it feels like, Under Oath that there's been yet. How is...
We wrote it, you know, me and Aaron wrote it from the point of what, you know, this already stopped once. Like, what if we don't get another chance to make a record? So we made it as honest as we could and as transparent as we could. And then again, that pisses a lot of people off, but we don't care. You know, this was our opportunity to really put things out there, and we had something we needed to say, you know. And I think like a lot of times with scheduling and bands going into this it turns into a business at some point, and you're making records to make records. We actually wanted to make a record and had something to say, and that's why it's honest, because it is.
And we didn't know if we'd ever get that chance again. You know, Spencer and I began writing for the record before the rest of the band even signed on to make one. So it was like, this is it. Like, this is go for broke. Who gives a shit? No one might ever hear it. You know what I mean? So it's like, that's the truest of the true. So.
One last fan question. Can you tell us about the inspiration for the Erase Me artwork?
That ain't on us.
That's not us, actually.
Those are most bands. It's always going to be like a design company, you know.
Well, for us, we always have been, if you know anything about kind of our tenure and our history, we've always been so hands-on with everything. And the record, we worked harder than we've ever worked on a record. So we hired some friends called Tension Division, who were responsible for like Blurry Face for 21 Pilots and lots of really kind of iconic modern art. And we brought them in to the studio, and they were actually the first people to hear the album before like anyone else. And they literally, like 8 weeks later, showed us all those images. So it was really neat to get them to, you know, we had sent them the lyrics even weeks before we let them hear the record. So they kind of took it from a really close place, which was great.
Able to interpret it.
Absolutely. And it's a guy that we've known for 15 years that we really trust, you know what I mean? So, and he's never really done album artwork for us. So it was a neat thing to be like, hey, this is new, this is fresh, like, what do you think this means? Like, what does this mean to you where you're at now? So it was super neat.
What about the music videos? You got Rapture, which is the sickest music video that I think I've ever seen. Were you all pretty hands-on with that in that direction?
Once again, you hire someone to do the music videos, and you're rolling the dice. Sometimes you're happy with it, sometimes you're not. We are not. But it's fine. It's music videos. We're happy with the songs and the music. That's what's in our control.
And if folks like the videos and they can kind
that's great.
It's great. Like, I think for us,
we personally, you know, we're not shooting for videos like that, and it happened anyway. So
we also don't have any film talent.
Yeah,
so
it's not our job
to
make the video.
Thing,
you know?
Yeah.
What would your ideal video be?
Not that. That's all I can say.
What are some great music videos?
I don't know, man.
Like, I can't think of anything super new that I love. I love the Smells Like Teen Spirit video. What else is really good?
A little more raw,
Yeah, I think that, you know, you don't know what you get when you're making a music video. Like, someone sends you a treatment, so like a miniature screenplay. You show up, you shoot the video, and then you wait a couple of weeks, and an edit shows up.
And the money's already spent, so you're going with it either way, you know. So
yeah,
we went with it.
And also, the medium for music videos is so much different than it used to be. You know, there's no network that's gonna play it, so it's like. Yeah. So it's kind of a different thing, and I think that, you know, labels and the folks who pay for music videos are spending less and less and less money, and rightfully so, because there's no outlet for it. You know what I mean? So, yeah.
Well, I know you all are tired, so any last words of wisdom for our fans watching back home?
Oh, thanks for having us.
We are on tour right now.
Yeah,
No Fix Tour. It's coming through America. We'll be on tour all year and all next year. Come hang out with us.
Say hello.
We might sound.
Next
yeah.
week. We'll be there as well.
Oh, you guys are coming.
There you go.
Great.
Oh yeah.
Great.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.